If you're not getting the traffic that you hope for at your open houses, chances are there's a gap in your strategy. Open houses really take a lot of preparation and they take being marketed much further in advance than most agents do. And I look at open houses as a two-part strategy. There is the marketing that comes before the open house, and then there's also the marketing that comes the day of. So let's talk about the marketing before an open house. There really needs to be a strategic plan in place when it comes to marketing an open house, and it needs to be done well in advance and consistently. I like to market them starting the week before it's going to be hosted. And I handle all of the marketing for my open houses, even though I don't personally host them. But I want to make sure the agent who is hosting that open house gets the absolute best turnout possible. And from testing over the years, what I find is best is a three-part strategy. First is Facebook ads, and yes, paid ads. Do not boost an ad. You might as well light your money on fire, but actually setting up an ad and running it in Facebook. And this is going to vary by market. So I hesitate to even share the approach that I use because it can even vary from the DMV area, and everything is within, 20 to 40 miles of DMV proper. And in our area, depending on not only the type of property, but also the area in general, is how we are going to be targeting our ads. Now, Facebook definitely limits how narrow we can get for who we're targeting for the buyer of a specific property, but it's still plenty to be able to capture the right audience and then probably a little extra with it. Personally, I do $20 a day on the ad spend. I've found that anything lower than that, it's not getting the number of impressions that we are looking for. We are also going to be running ads on YouTube and on Instagram. And both of those components are really important because different people are on different platforms. It's just the way it is with social media. So we want to make sure that we are capturing the biggest audience that we can who would also potentially be interested in a property. And those ads start 6 days before an open house. Within that, we're also going to be posting on Facebook. We're going to be posting on Instagram. We're going to be sharing it in our stories. The other thing that I like to do leading up to the open house, of course, we put it in the MLS. I feel like I have to mention that, but that is just like complete bare minimum when it comes to planning ahead for your open house. From there, what we're also doing leading up to the open house is two parts. One is that we are, of course, going to be sharing videos of the property that we've had professionally made, but we also like to go buy the property and do I call it a basic walkthrough. That's probably not a good word for it, but not all edited and professional. This is just either me or the agent that's hosting it or someone else on the team going through this house with the eyes of a buyer. And it's very organic, it's very natural, and it's just sharing about the house. We do break the videos up so that they're not overly long because people simply have a short attention span. And we also like to use the professional photos that we've had to create a carousel post that then tells a story about what it's like living in the house. Within that, we also like to let the neighbors know that they are more than welcome to attend this open house. And if our sellers are open to it and the agent hosting wants to do it as well, we will have a 30-minute neighbors only preview. We typically do this for the very first open house that's held. Sometimes that's a twilight open house, sometimes it's on a Saturday. It just depends. And then we invite the neighbors. We do not door knock because we don't like to be door knocked, but we do send postcards to the entire neighborhood saying, you are more than welcome to come to this open house. We've got this neighbors only preview half hour. Please feel free to come and take a look at the house. We, of course, get our sellers permission to do that, but by doing that, we are opening it up to the neighbors, one, feeling welcome because I never really understood why agents have such an issue with neighbors coming in and visiting an open house. It's an open house. That's what it's for. But we want to make it a point to say, you are more than welcome. Help us find your new neighbor, because the odds are people that are already living in the neighborhood, the buyer for the property is going to be similar to those people in some way. Their lifestyle, their buying power, a certain school they want to be close to, a certain employer they want to be close to. There's always trends within a neighborhood. And if those neighbors know someone else that's buying, by all means, we want them to feel welcome, not only to come in themselves, but bring your friend who you know is interested in buying a similar property. And by doing this, we are having the goal of hitting every single avenue. We're doing the paid online ads. We are letting the neighbors know. Then we are also making sure that we are consistently sharing this property throughout the week leading up to the open house. Sometimes we will also do a giveaway. I typically don't do those unless we have partnered with a title company or a lender, just because of the expense of a giveaway. But I have been known, if it's a property that I'm a little nervous about moving, depending on what the market is doing, and we need that extra boost, but we don't have a sponsor for whatever reason, then yes, I will definitely dump some money into some type of giveaway. You can't go wrong with Amazon gift cards, even though I know they're basic. People love Amazon, and that can draw more eyes in as well. Then we have the actual day of the open house prep. And this is a mistake that I see agents make a lot, in that they're not getting their signs out early enough, and or are not putting enough signs out. I cannot stress enough the importance of signs for an open house, because that's going to be another avenue of traffic. When people are out driving around, especially on a weekend, and they see an open house sign, a lot of times they're just curious and they'll stop in. But had they not seen the sign, they're not actively shopping for a home. And if they are, maybe they aren't looking specifically in that area. But if they see a sign and they've got some interest, they'll pop in. I recommend a minimum of 10 to 15 signs, preferably 15 to 20 signs, and also strategically placed so that you're capturing traffic from the closest main road, you're capturing traffic from entering the neighborhood, and then you're, of course, capturing traffic directly in front of the house. I cannot tell you how many times I've pulled up to an open house and I really wouldn't have known it was going on unless I was specifically meeting clients there or going by to preview it for one reason or another, because there were no signs. There were no signs even in front of the house. And you're missing out on traffic if you are not putting enough signs out and getting them out early enough to attract attention. Something that I want to emphasize on that is, your goal from the open house is, of course, to get a lot of traffic because we want to make sellers happy. But the reality is, only about 3% of homes sell from an open house. So that should be telling you that if you are spending time hosting an open house, your goal is to get leads, which means you want to drive absolutely as many possible potential clients through that open house. That's what's going to make it the best use of your time. So I always kind of chuckle a little bit to myself when an agent will push back and say, well, so what if somebody's just driving by and stops in? Like, they're probably not going to buy the house. That's not your goal from the open house. You're going to have the sellers be happy if you have a lot of traffic that you can then share who came through. So check that off the list. But your goal is to get business from the open house. If this is one of your lead strategy pillars, you constantly have to be focused on the end goal, which is that open houses are generating leads that are then turning into buyers for you. So who cares if somebody is just curious and pops in? Maybe they're thinking about moving in a year, or maybe they're not thinking about moving at all, but they really like this neighborhood, so they wanted to see a house in it. There are so many different reasons that someone might pop into an open house, and it's an opportunity to start a conversation. The other thing that I think is important the day of an open house is getting there early. I recommend putting your signs out in the morning, of course, depending on what the rules are in your area for signage. Then I recommend going home and getting ready, because let's face it, putting signs in the ground, it sucks. It's a lot of work. You get sweaty, you get yucky, and then you're not ready for your open. But once you do all that, you really should get to your open about half hour early so that you can set the stage, for a lack of a better term. Obviously, get all the lights on, get all the blinds open, make sure that the home is smelling fresh. And if it's not, have something with you to make it smell fresh, but not overpowering. Maybe you have some snacks or some waters to put out. You just want to make sure that you are completely set up and ready to welcome guests. I would say at least 5 minutes before the open house starts, because 9 times out of 10, somebody shows up just a few minutes early. And one, it's not a good presentation if everything's not completely ready to go for a guest to walk through. But two, it also just adds more stress on your end if somebody's knocking at the door and you're trying to get everything set up really quick to be able to start this open house. Open houses come down to planning and strategy, just like so many other things in real estate. It should not be flying by the seat of your pants. You tossed it in the MLS and you're showing up for the open and hoping that it all works out. Because one, that's not a good use of your time. And two, you're not going to get the same amount of leads that you would get if you had actually invested time into planning, having a marketing campaign go out and being able to capture as much traffic as you possibly can. Do not wing it when it comes to your open houses. If you implement any of these ideas, please let me know. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.